Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Coachman. My name is Omar John Ori II, aka Amish. You know who it is. But welcome back to the podcast. Hopefully you've been okay and well. For this one, we're going to be going back to early 1800s. Back to a time when, uh, and actually an earlier time, but over in Germany. And if you have, you listened to the podcast before, you know that this is what these two are one of my favorites, um, and it is the Brothers Grimm. And I'm not going to say much about this story, but I'm going to be reading today is Mr. Rumpelstiltskin. Now, just before I start, I just found out that like Rumpelstiltskin, I gotta go check with this, but from German folklore, it loosely means little rattle stilt, and it refers to a noisy household spirit. Which I never really, I mean, I've lived in Germany and had an ex who is from Germany as well, but I never really asked what Rumpelstiltskin meant. I just one of those things I just never asked about, but I just found that that was really really interesting. So yeah, I guess we're gonna read about a little rattle. I was going to say rat. That's what I thought because he looks like a rat. But yeah, we're just going to get into this and hopefully you enjoy. Once there was a miller who was poor, but who had a beautiful daughter. Now it happened that he had to go and speak to the king. And in order to make himself appear important, he said to him, I have a daughter who can spin straw into gold. The king said to the miller, that is an art which pleases me very well. If your daughter is as clever as you say, bring her tomorrow to my palace, and I will see what she can do. And when the girl was brought to him, he took her into a room which was quite full of straw, gave her a spinning wheel, and a reel, and said, "Now set to work, and if by tomorrow morning early, you have not spun this straw into gold during the night, you must die." I ain't gonna lie, that you talk about being, man, talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Thereupon, he himself locked up the room and left her in it alone. So there sat the poor miller's daughter, and for the life of her could not tell what to do. She had no idea how straw could be spun into gold, and she grew more and more miserable until at last she began to weep. But all at once the door opened, and in came a little man and said, "Good evening, Mistress Miller. Why are you crying so?" "Alas," answered the girl, "I have to spin straw into gold, and I do not know how to do it." "What will you give me," said the mannikin, "if I do it for you?" "My necklace," said the girl. The little man took the necklace, seated himself in front of the wheel, and whirr, 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 3 turns, and the reel was full. Then he put another on, and whirl, 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 3 times round, and the second was full too. And so it went on until the morning, when all the straw was spun, and all the reels were full of gold. By daybreak the king was already there, and when he saw the gold, he was astonished and delighted. But his heart became only more greedy. He had the miller's daughter taken into another full room of straw, which was much, much larger, and commanded her to spin that also in one night if she valued her life. See, I'm gonna be honest with you. So this, if you have never heard of stories from like the Renaissance, medieval, excuse me, medieval times or anything like that, you've seen like this has happened like a lot, where people will sell, like literally sell their kids into whatever, or sell a loved one, and if it means it's gonna save their skin, it is done without second thought. I'm talking straight cutthroat, like hardcore business, yeah? Even worse than today's business. But so like I'm not surprised by this theme, but it's still kind of like, yo, I mean honestly, I could I imagine somebody doing that today? Yes. Like under the right conditions, 100%. No doubt. The girl knew not how to help herself and was crying when the door again opened and the little man appeared and said, "What will you give me if I spin that straw into gold for you?" "The ring on my finger," answered the girl. The little man took the ring, again begun to turn the wheel, and by morning had spun all the straw into glittering gold. The king rejoiced beyond measure at the sight, but still he had not gold enough. And he had the miller's daughter taken into a still larger room full of straw and said, "You must spin this too in the course of this night, but if you succeed, you shall be my wife." Even if she be a miller's daughter, thought he, I could not find a richer wife in the world. He ain't lying. He ain't lying. When the girl was alone, the mannequin came again for the third time and said, "What will you give me if I spin straw for you this time also?" "I have nothing left that I could give," answered the girl. "Then promise me, if you should become queen, your first child." "Who knows whether that will ever happen?" thought the miller's daughter, and not knowing how else to help herself in this strait, she promised the mannequin that what he wanted, and for that he once more span the straw into gold. So you see what I'm saying? It's like, yo, Pops did it, now she did it, and it's just like, all right, I'll just give up whatever's there. So that's what I'm saying. This is like a common thing where it's just like, all right, gotta save my skin, do what I got to do. And when the king came in the morning and found all as he had wished, he took her in marriage, and the pretty miller's daughter became a queen. A year after, she had a beautiful child, and she never gave a thought to the mannequin. But suddenly he came into her room and said, "Now, give me what you promised." The queen was horror-struck, and offered the mannequin all the riches of the kingdom if he would leave her the child. But the mannequin said, "No, something that is living is dearer to me than all the treasures in the world." Then the queen began to weep and cry, so the mannequin pitied her. "I will give you 3 days' time," he said. "If by that time you find out my name, then shall you keep your child." And so this is another thing that I found out is that like within like in a sense it's kind of wild because like knowing somebody's name, you know what I mean, and really like knowing them, it's kind of, I don't know how do I with this. It's really honestly it's really something that is more prevalent than we give credit to. Like if we really know somebody's name, like the only thing you have in life is your name. So kind of like really like I know just yesterday I got called Kingston. You know what I mean? And I was like, no, my name's Omar. In actuality, I used to go by Ori for about like almost like a decade. And the thing about it though is that like no, a name really is something. So even in this time, like this little guessing game, it actually kind of has some significant weight because it's like you kind of almost have to like she would have to like read him, and I was like, and I'll tell you this: if you ever want a fun game, yo, like my buddies and I back home used to play this. Go out to a bar, yeah, and then choose somebody, and then literally whoever like thinks they know their name, just yell their name out, okay, in the middle of the bar, or just everyone yell out the name and then see if they look. And I mean, it was a dumb game, but it was fun because we would also then like they would send me over, and then I'd be like, "Yo, what's your name?" And they'd be like, "Oh, we're just trying to guess your name. That's all. We're just picking people and see if we can guess their names." And it's also a great starter. Like if you want to get to know people, it works. Trust me, it's so easy. But so let's see. So all right. So the queen thought the whole night all the names that she had ever heard, and she sent a messenger over the country to inquire, far and wide, for any other names that there might be. When the mannequin came to the next day, she began with Casper, Melchior, Balthazar, and said all the names she knew, one after another. But to every one, the little man said, "That's not my name." On the second day, she had inquiries made in the neighborhood as to the names of the people there, and she repeated to the mannequin the most uncommon and curious. "Perhaps your name is Short Ribs, or Sheepshanks, or Lace Leg," but always answered, "That is not my name." On the third day, the messenger came back again and said, "I have not been able to find a single new name, but as I came to a high mountain at the end of the forest, where the fox and the hare bid each other good day, or good night, there I saw a little house, and before the house a fire was burning, and round about the fire quite a ridiculous little man was jumping. He hopped upon one leg and shouted, 'Today I bake, tomorrow brew. Then next I'll have the queen's child. Ha ha ha! Glad that I am no one new. That Rumpelstiltskin I am styled.' You may think, you may think how glad the queen was when she heard the name. And when soon afterwards the little man came in and asked, 'Now, Mistress Queen, what is my name?' At first she said, 'Is your name Conrad?' 'No.' 'Is your name Henry?' 'No.' 'Perhaps your name is Rumpelstiltskin.' 'The devil has told you that! The devil has told you that!' cried the little man. And in his anger he plunged his right foot so deep into the earth that his whole leg went in. And then in rage he pulled at his left leg so hard with both hands that he tore himself in two. So as you can see, you know what I mean? Sometimes and that's the funny thing about like people who I just had this incident. So sometimes like, people try to be all mysterious, and I think that's like what I'm starting to see about people. Like they want to be these, eh, you know, enigmas and very like, ooh, mysterious and all that kind of stuff. And it's just kind of dumb. You know what I mean? It's really kind of stupid. It's like, it isn't, your actions will show you who people are. You know what I mean? Might not give you their name, but it'll show you. But, um, and I mean, but like I said, for me, like, it's just one of those things where there's a couple of things at play. One is that this story kind of shows you that desperation can make us do almost anything. You know what I mean? Because look at it. Pops basically gave away his daughter. Basically gave away her kid. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, but it was calm. The dad is the miller. He's the real reason all this started. Not Rumpelstiltskin. He ain't the bad guy. He just took advantage of whatever was happening. And then, sometimes, and then it's also like, sometimes like things, the smallest things could be totally, sometimes like almost like karma. You know what I'm saying? Like how Rumpelstiltskin tried to take this girl and take advantage of her. And what happened? It ended up, he got a little arrogant and booyah. And I see that all the time, especially on the internet. So with that being said, hopefully you enjoyed this version of the story. Hopefully you liked it. Let me know if you did. Let me know what you thought was like kind of different. Give me your ideas, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, whatever it is. If you want to reach out, like you can leave me a message. Let me know what you think about it. And as always, until next time, take care.